All right, folks, we are here with Dave Weiss, the producer of the Flat Earth app, and has been doing this Flat Earth movement for many, many, many years now. I interviewed him probably, I'm going to guess it was over 2 years ago, and I can't tell you how many people's eyes was open from that one particular interview that we done years ago on Frog News. And now we have just done probably I would say this has went more viral than anything else. Wouldn't you, Dave, on the deal with the debate?
I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing it on channels, biblical channels, on just review channels, on channels that think flat Earth is dumb, channels that are just hearing about it. It's everywhere. So,
Yeah,
and the TikToks are starting to come out. So it's
yeah,
going everywhere, and that's God's blessing, if you will.
exactly, exactly. One thing that I would like to ask um, is how your journey came from being an atheist until now you believe in creation. Tell me a little bit about that because I hadn't heard that story.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple. It's kind of a funny story. I have a couple. I have like two incidents as a one as a kindergartner or first grade where the teacher brought us out to teach us about gravity and gave us a bucket of water on a string, and he swung it around and said that's gravity. And I actually questioned that. I said, wait a minute, shouldn't the water be on the outside? Because if we're on a globe, the water's on the outside.
Yep,
The teacher goes like this. He shows me his book. I remember the book. It was like highlighted with all these different colors and pencils, and like it looked like it was like 20 different teachers used it to highlight it. And he goes, this is how they tell me to teach it, and that's how I'm going to teach it. Now you just go off and play. And I remember that.
that's right.
And so that's not the creation story. But then when I was a young teenager, I was born in a non-practicing Jewish family, and everyone around was going to this Christian Bible study group, this kids group called Young Life, and they were going on a trip to Bermuda, and I wanted to go. So I decided I'm going on this trip, and we go there. I'm like, this is really great. And then they had the Bible study, and I was like, really, Bible study? Okay, let's hear it. And the first verse they read was the stars falling to the earth verse. And right there, I
That's
said, that's
right.
ridiculous. I mean, if a small star was a yoga ball, the earth is a grain of sand, right? It's tiny. It's a BB. And I said, stars can't fall to the earth. And I discounted the Bible for my entire life up until 2014. So that verse right there, that verse with the
Yep,
heliocentric lie, the satanic heliocentric lie, made me throw out the Bible and discount religion, God, everything. I just discounted it my entire life. So I looked into Christianity, Buddhism. I just looked at everything, not even that intensely. And I was just like, nah, I'm a scientist. I like science, right?
yep,
And science, and guess what? Science is awesome. It's the people that stole the word science and claim that what they do is science, which is pure pseudoscience. So in 2014, I was doing a podcast on a lot of deceptions in the world, and Flat Earth started getting thrown at me, and I was like, nope, nope. I'm not even going to look at a 1 minute video because it's too dumb. Too dumb. Excuse me a second. And then finally, I was forced to look, and I went in with a bad attitude because I'm going to disprove flat Earth. That's not how you investigate something. I went in to disprove it and prove the globe. So
that's
I'm
right.
biased. I went in biased. That's how most people do. And when you actually take a hard look, use your God given common sense, you're like, wow, Earth is flat. And then it hit me. It's not the shape of the Earth, it's that we are in a created realm. This world is created. It's amazing. There's 0.9 million zeros% chance that it's a random. It's just not. It can't be a random
That's right.
from a big bang. And at that point, I said, "Wow, there's a creator." And then my journey from there is my journey. Everyone has their
That's right.
journey, and I think everyone's job on this earth is not to tell people what to think, what to do, what to believe, but to show them, to say, "This is it." Now that you see the creation, you have no excuse. I think I forget the verse. Maybe it's Job something that says, "Once you see my creation, you can no longer deny my existence." right?
Yep.
You know the line, the greatest trick the devil ever made was making you think he doesn't exist. Well, the greatest
Yep.
trick the devil ever made was making you think God doesn't exist.
That's right.
And so once you know, and here's the thing, I believe lots of different things. That's a belief. But I know this world is created intelligently by a creator. That's a fact. Now,
Yep.
your details on where that goes, which religion, which story, which everything, that's fine. That's your journey to figure out. But once you know, and once you connect with creation, there's no stopping. There's no stopping it. So that's my
So
journey
Dave,
there.
tell me, why do you think the global lie is out there? Just quick. You kind of explained it, but you tell, what are they covering up?
So they're covering up everything from they're hiding God, they're hiding more land, they're hiding free energy, they're hiding more resources, they're hiding your divinity, they're hiding your ability to see the world. And some of the evidence, I don't want to say proof, is all of the 666s. Everything, freeze frame this, everybody. Look at this. Everything is 666. We're tilted at 66.6 degrees. The tropics are at 66.6 degrees, at 66.6 degrees. It's the Earth's curvature is 6.666 inches per mile squared. Everything is 666. That's the devil's calling card. That's the call. That's the card. Right. They, and people don't, when you say that to a normie, they're like, well, what difference does numbers make? They don't understand. They don't understand that this world is not what you think it is. And
that's right.
So
one thing about it is about the signature, the 666.
Yep.
Is I believe that Satan has to identify himself.
Yep.
As in, somewhere, I haven't found it, but somewhere, it may be because it says every lie will be revealed, and they know that. But this right here with 666 and it being in Scripture, it's an identification, just like the monument, the Washington Monument, being all 666 with all the measurements there.
All of it. Go ahead, Dave. No, it's amazing. And we have free will. So people say, when you bring somebody through the process of waking up to the global lie, and they throw their hands up lots of times and they go, what difference does it make? I'm only one person. There's nothing I can do. There's this great, powerful government. That's all in your head. Yep. One person, it's all in your head. It's all in your head. If we all woke up, let's say this video goes viral, Tim, and everyone on the earth watches it tomorrow or today. All right. Then they go, you know what? These guys are right. Let's just ignore the government. Government's gone instantaneously. We don't have to take them down. They disappear when we stop imagining their power. When we stop,
man, you are dead on the money there. You're dead on the money. I'm telling you. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of, they're not going to scare me. And I believe that's maybe one of the reasons that all these, and I have to say, you heard about what happened to me last weekend about this guy that was,
yes.
I mean, that is crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy. Now, listen, when I get back to South Carolina, I'm sitting in a restaurant with my best friend, and I'm telling him the story, and if people wasn't there, I don't give my testimony because it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that a guy that was in a surveillance van runs into me at a flat earth debate in Tennessee, and he lives in Mississippi, and told me, now listen, this is what I have not said. I couldn't figure out why they planted the drugs on me. Well, to come to find out, they wanted to, because I own the nightclubs. And if you're from South Carolina, you know which biker group I'm talking about. They wanted to get to the bikers. They wanted me to buy drugs from the bikers. So they had to frame me to get me to be an informant for them. You understand?
Yeah.
It's crazy that they would try to ruin somebody's life, just so they could get to that point.
Tim, when with all the stuff I've been investigating, the normies they'll throw out the question like, everything can't be fake. Everything, there's something's got to be real. And the thing is, everything's fake. Everything's fake.
Everything.
Except there's one comment. There's a couple things that are true, but one comment out of government, and that was from FDR. He said the only thing to fear is fear itself, and that is
That's right.
you. So when you're not afraid of them, they,
Yep.
then they have no power over you. It's only when you're in that fear that they can occupy you. They can they can control you. Right. What's when a spirit goes into you? What's that called? Possess you. They can only possess you. And
that's right.
And the signs, symbols, numbers, our words, everything, they use it against us. They use, our words are very, very powerful. When people say negative things about themselves, well, then it's absolutely true. That becomes your reality.
And man, you are dead on the money.
Yeah. So.
You are dead on the money. I'm going to tell you something that I noticed. I just got back from Chicago and done some investigation on world fairs and the buildings that are there. I went on this tour, and I had the host, whatever the man is that tells you the stories. I had him on pins and needles. I said, "You're trying to tell me that building right there was built in the 1800s? That is, I can't remember. I don't know how tall it is, and you're telling me all that structure there was built in 1800s with a horse and buggy?"
Yeah,
and very similar to that, and then. He tells me, well, the designer, what do they call him? The ones who designed the buildings, architect. Now he's telling me that that Chicago sent the architects to Rome to learn. I said, well, how long did that take? Horse and buggy and a boat with no motor. And then they went there and then come back.
The World's Fairs are definitely a stepping stone to flat Earth. On my app, if you go to the homeschool section, which is the one that looks like a little home and with a desk in it, right here, this guy, My Lunch Break, it's amazing. Watch his stuff. He goes over.
He is good.
He's amazing. And then also Jake, I'm the Improbable Dreamer, and then John Levy. We got all sorts of stuff in here. It's amazing. And then on the more resources page, if we go down to right here, the giant trees, right, which relates to the Tower of Babel, and then biogeology. These rabbit holes are so deep, you can dive in head first with no fear because there is no bottom. There's no bottom to the rabbit hole. And when you start seeing that, you really start seeing how amazing this creation is. I know this realm is incredible. I also know that it was far more incredible than we are imprisoned in right now, in the section where we're imprisoned in, or the state of the world that we're imprisoned in. And it's there's no limits to this creation. So when people say, I know the glory of God, sure, you may. You're never going to realize it all. It's too big for us to fathom what's going on. So just real quick before we get into the debate tonight, at the day of this recording, hopefully you get this out today, Friday, December 8th, 8th and 9th, we have a virtual online summit. The debate was so amazing that all the 4 times that I got up and spoke, I forgot to even mention this. But this is for people that can't go in person. You just you can sign up. Excuse me. You can sign up. You can just sign up, and it's live streamed, and you can chat in the chat. And if you want a VIP ticket, you can be in the Zoom and ask questions and all sorts of stuff. But it's filled with health freedom and flatter. Everyone's flat. We got David Avocado Wolf, Dr. Amanda Vollmer, probably worth the price of admission right there. We got Dr. Kelly Brogan, Justin Harvey. For those of you that don't know who he is, he's a vaccine advocate, and also he's the one that questioned some astronauts about bubbles in space, Scott Kelly. And the guy's got amazing set of gonads for what he does. Dr. Andy Kaufman, Flat Earther, Jay Tolan Media, for those of you that are into Flat Earth, Hero Landucci, and one of my favorites, Stellium 7, Mike Wickerson, talking about biogeology, on how there used to be titans here that are now petrified into stone. And the evidence is not only is it mind-blowing, it is it literally brings you closer to God. I think it does. Is when you have truth, the ultimate purpose of life is to seek ultimate knowledge and share it with others. And this,
that's biblical.
Yeah, and so when you sign up for this, I think the ticket price is $50. You have to select one of the creators who you want to support, and half of the ticket price goes to them, right?
Oh.
And so this is a way, because, in the truth community, Tim, when you put out some good truth stuff, you know how much support you get, how much it's definitely paying, your bill.
That's right.
There's no support. So we're trying to, Jaron and Austin who are putting this on, they're trying to support the creators. And it's really, it's fantastic. And then you get a ton of stuff with it. You get a ton of like discounts and freebies and all sorts of stuff that basically equal the whole ticket price anyway. So it's 2 full days. And if you can't watch the whole thing live because you got stuff to do, that's fine. You can go back and watch it whenever you want. So I highly recommend, everyone leaves there and goes, wow, like you end up on the other side knowing you just feel so much more open. You're like, you can now see the world. It's amazing. All right. Yeah. So there's my plug. And the only reason I'm plugging this is because I want you to go, because I want to go, because it's an amazing, amazing time.
Yep.
All right. Peace.
I like it. Right. You hadn't mentioned it all weekend.
Yeah. And the easiest place to find it is flatearthdave.com. I forgot to tell you that. Flatearthdave.com, my website. And just go there, scroll down a little bit. You'll see a big banner. Click it, sign up. And we'll see you tonight. I think it starts at 5 p.m. Eastern, I think.
Another thing I want to add right quick is my website. And I've got your link on there to flatearthdave.com.
Yep.
It's bonafidetruth.com.
Yep.
And I'm not only covering, I'm sitting here in my motorhome now. We're going to start traveling, and I'm going to get testimonies from people that has found truth. I want to meet people. I don't want to bash anyone. I want to meet them at the mile marker that they're at in this whole finding truth stuff, because when you've been indoctrinated your whole life, it is very hard to puke that out and swallow a truth pill. And a lot of people want to bash people over the head. And just like you was talking about with pastors pushing their agenda on you, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that. I want to meet them. I don't care if they're atheists. I don't care. I want to hear their testimony, just like I just heard yours, Tim, that the Lord brought you to a belief that we've been lied to.
I have to tell you,
if you can start there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
If you can start there, you'll do away with this religious lie that we've been told our whole life. If you can start from there. The problem is the people that has dealt with religion is going to turn their back on truth, because that's Satan's plan.
Yep.
Is to make you believe into a lie. Just like this deal with the globe, it don't make sense. I mean, when I was 15, I put in satellite dishes and my eyes was open, but I had to go in the closet, because if I would have told people that the earth is not spinning because I put in these satellite dishes at 15, I'd have looked like a fool. And then a friend of mine, I done an interview with him the other day, Lucas from 7 Trumpet Preppers. He's the first person I ever seen that came out openly. And this has been 10 years ago. So then me and him started talking about flight patterns and all these kind of things. So he's got a whole deal on his stuff too. And we all know we've been lied to, especially about religion.
Yeah, 100%. What I'm trying here is on the app, I hit the biblical section, and we have a long list of, whoops, hold on. Let me get rid of that. Go back. 1 second. Sorry about that. So I hit the biblical section, and we have a long list of videos, all amazing stuff. I tell people, if you're a Bible believer or a Bible hater or a Bible denier or a Bible lover, doesn't matter. Watch these videos and they'll change.
That's right.
They'll change your life. And the top one is my co-host, Matt Long, from the Flat Earth podcast. He did this, I think it's like 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes. And it's called Dear Pastor. And it's basically just an 8-minute pitch to pastors. So if you're trying to wake up your pastor, show him this video, sit with him and watch it if you can, or just send it to him and say, hey, Father, could you watch this and then have a discussion with me. And any pastor that has, any common sense after seeing that will want to talk about it. He'll want to talk about it. And so somebody made a suggestion to me the other day that on my app, on the Friend Finder, which shows you where all the other people are around the flat Earth, if we could put a flat friendly church where people can find church services with awake preachers. And as we go, I'm going to set up a whole thing for that where, in their profile, they'll be able to check, I'm a pastor at a church.
That's right.
And then the people could like, hey, I'm traveling in this area and I want to go to a service. Hey, I can find a church. So that's going to be a whole thing on this in the coming year. And it'll be amazing. It'll be amazing.
And that's what I plan on doing in the motorhome is I'm going to go around and find these pastors.
Yeah.
And see, flat earth ain't the only thing that they need to be, if they pushing their agenda on you and not letting you come along as you want to, I have a big problem with that, with, people telling people to get out of their churches just because you don't understand or you may not believe exactly the way they do. And then they bash you in the head and tell you to leave, and by asking questions, to be honest with you. And if you don't go along with it or you don't go along with their agenda, so this is not a one-step program, folks. This is a deal where we are seeking truth, and I plan on taking this motorhome and I'm going to go visit people, and I'm going to go look at these archives in America, all this hidden monuments and all these things. Also,
they're everywhere in every town, and once you start seeing them and you start looking, you can see there was some sort of mud flood, in the 1800s. It appears. Maybe God did it. Maybe it was something else. I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying there's perfect evidence proof that the world was buried in mud. And I think it came up from underneath when God opened up the windows of heaven to let the pressure out, and the water rose up from underneath and fell from the heavens. So there's your 40-day flood, or however long it was. But there's so much to our past that we need to figure out, and it's a great journey figuring it out. But I was trying to say before is during my journey through life, looking at spirituality, people that would come up and say, you need to do this, you need to read the Bible, you do this, if you don't, you're going to hell. That just pushes people away. It just pushes the people. And then there's other people out there in the flat earth movement, Joe from Effed Up World, and Robbie Davidson and Rob Skiba, rest in peace, and Zen Garcia. There's a whole bunch of people. They just set a great example. They just this is how, and of course, Pastor Odell, Dean Odell, they just say, hey, this is how I see it. And all they do is they show you. They don't tell you what you need to do. And that's what I recommend anybody. If you want to have somebody do it your way, show them. Don't tell them.
That's right.
Set an example. And let them have their journey, because it's their journey. It's not your journey. It's
exactly.
And the other thing is, at the event, several people came up to me, mostly women, that said that they used to be church going and they fell out. They just they got rid of it all. But then Flat Earth has brought them back to the church. And they're like, but I don't want to go in. I can't be full. And I'm like, you don't have to. I go, just look at the stuff, listen to what Dean's saying, and, have your own personal journey, and don't share it with anybody if you don't want to. Just keep that your journey, and God will guide you. God will guide you, period. I said to you when I was speaking at Dean's service, I said, who told you to set up everything at that conference? And you're like, God did.
That's right.
And people, I'm being accused, because I'm getting pretty popular out there, that I'm a controlled agent and I've got controllers. I wish somebody was helping me, telling me what to do. I'm doing this all myself. So I kind of translate that into, we all have the Spirit of Christ in us, so we need to save ourselves right now. Everybody.
That's right.
Everybody can do, everyone that came to that thing, they did it on their own, and it brought them closer to the Creator. That's how I saw it.
That's right.
And so,
Yep.
don't wait for anyone else to do it. If you want to do it your way, do it your way, because no one else is going to do it your way. Do it, whatever you think. And that'll just brings everyone together.
Yeah, I'm sure you heard about the deal with the Post on October 22nd. I posted, if your pastors are talking about you from the pulpit, good or bad, you're on the right track. All right. The Lord stopped me and had me post that very day. And that is actually what triggered this whole, what I say, this put a stop to the globe from spinning. And from there was so many incredible things. And I want to say that the only thing that I can stand on is I pray to the Father, Creator, in the name of Jesus, Yeshua, Jehovah, whichever language you want to say, and these things happen. But now I've got to the point to where I just get up and I ask the Lord, what's my assignment for the day? Because he knows what my heart's desire, and now I'm to the point to where my heart's desire is to figure out this whole debacle of religion and denominations. I believe a lot of these denominations got something right, and Satan separated them. Like, think about this, Dave. If you was Pentecostal and I was Baptist, we automatically got a dividing factor if we knew that about each other. So Satan has divided us. So we got to come together, and the biggest thing, we got to quit bashing each other on their head on their journey. I always say, meet that person at the mile marker that they're at. If you need help, a toe, only thing I can show you is what I went through. Your testimony, Dave, is so strong because you went from believing nothing to believing in the Creator, and you admit, hey, I don't know everything. We're still looking. I'm gonna give all these pastors a warning. When you say that you know everything, that means you are a know-it-all, and you have no reason for faith.
Yeah.
When you put a hammer and you hit me in the head, this is the way I believe, and you're going to believe this way. When you do that, you're destroying your ministry.
You know what they say?
We just seen one take place this week.
You know what they say about us flat earthers, and the people like Dean, like, you'll never change your mind. No matter what I show you, you'll never change your mind. We changed our mind. We were gropers. Yeah. We actually looked, and we ripped the rug out from underneath our own feet because we realized it was a fake rug. And
right.
when you're operating on their fake ball, satanic ball, guess what? That's their monopoly board, and you're using their monopoly money. Therefore, you have to buy by their rules. When we go back to creation, to nature, to God's world, then they can't change that. They can take it and kind of pervert it and make up lies and invert everything. But when you're operating in, reality, in God's law, God's world, God's creation, they can't control you. And that's what they don't want. They can't control a bunch of people that know there's a God. They can't.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
I call it the zone. I know that's not a biblical name, but you get in this zone with God, and you'll wake up, and he'll give you a message. Sometimes it's just a word like transparency or the word fire. You don't know what it means, but you just sit back and watch. And it's getting real good. I can't wait to start uncovering all this stuff that has happened in America that they've covered up from us. Right back to the native, I don't want to call them Native Americans, but the natives that actually some of the tribes spoke Hebrew. And how did they get here? Things like that. And I think it was Daniel Boone. I'm going to have to go check for myself, but Daniel Boone run up on a tribe of Indians that was in these massive buildings, that this massive city, and they told Daniel Boone, we didn't make this city, we inhabited it.
We found it. It was founded.
Founded it. Yes, right.
So
go ahead.
But no, go ahead, finish, then I got a comment.
But I mean, that's not in our history books, folks. As far as we're concerned, the native was in a tent. Well, the native that was in a tent was being run from their land by American government. The truth is, they took their language away from them. And this, I'm not talking about the Puritan that came over here and dedicated this land to God. I'm talking about the government that came in afterwards, that actually George Washington was the eighth president, not the first. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I
but
did.
that is when the government, that is when the, let's just say, Masonic England, whatever you want to call it, that is, I believe that we was not invaded, but infiltrated
Tim,
in 1776.
George Washington, no, Abraham Lincoln, was it Abraham Lincoln lived in a log cabin, right? That's what we're told. But meanwhile, they're having the World's Fairs with this incredible architecture, and he's living in a log cabin. Okay. And then the fact that at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, there's an area that's cut off from us from ever seeing it, that is filled with not just hieroglyphics, but Egyptian ruins. At the bottom of the Grand Canyon. That wipes out the erosion by the Colorado River. That wipes out everything about how the Grand Canyon was formed. That wipes out everything about a history. It unwinds the entire narrative, but people just that's too much for me to deal with, and they just stick to what they've been indoctrinated with. So when we find out our true history, we're going to find a connection to God. When we find out that the Earth is not a spinning ball flying in space, we're going to have a connection to God. And when we find pastors like Greg Locke, we find out that they're literally demons. That's going to bring us closer to God when we get away from people like that.
Another thing I want to tell you, I don't have. Me and Greg was friends for a long time, for 4 years, and I supported him. And here's one thing that I brought up to him. We text back and forth on Monday after he blocked me, because I put silly memes up about him. And I said, you knew from day one that I was flat earth. And we've sat in motorhomes before. We've had meetings. We've been in green rooms for 4 years. And I've donated, I can't tell you how much money, to be honest with you. But at any time in the 4 years, why didn't he come to me and say, brother, you're in error? You're in error, because this whole flat earth thing is wrong. You're lying to yourself. I'm talking about us carrying on conversations for hours at a time. Now, why didn't he do that? Well, was it because it wasn't an issue, or was it because I was feeding them?
I don't know.
I've been very blessed.
You made a video suggesting that there might be some ulterior motives with him. And
they ain't no. Let me tell you something. I've been under investigation half my life, and I can spot them a mile away now.
Yeah.
And this right here was a moment. What they do is they cause a problem, and they let us explode amongst ourselves, and then they come in to save the day. All right. So what this was not a debate. This was a pissing match. That is why I had to warn Dean over and over and over again and tell everybody, stay cool, stay cool, stay cool. Well, in a debate, there's a mediator. Well, Greg had to set the tone. Greg had to set the tone of the debate by making Dean mad. You understand? When you have a mediator, you don't get to argue and get in each other's face. We was at a verbal boxing match, if you want to say that. So, and here's what you got to remember is the one thing that me and Dean could not understand, and nobody else I talked to, why would Greg fill his church up with people to prove him wrong? And that's the one answer we couldn't give, but we was going to go anyway, And now, here's the way the Lord works, is he don't reveal that to you till the day after. So we go through the whole debate. I get up there, people say, oh, you got a hot mic. I'm not ashamed of what I told him. I'm not ashamed. Look, this is not a debate. This is a pissing match. And whoever pops first, whoever gets pissed off first, loses the match. So that's why I went up there and I told him, I said, what angers you controls you. Period. And I said, you got to piss him off. Well, the way you piss a dictator off is you don't fall for his dictation. And you don't fall in. So when Greg and Dean are sitting there going head to head, they are arguing with each other. And you knew, Dave, when we got there, that nobody was going to walk out of that tent on a globe that walked in there on flat earth. We know that. It's not going to happen. We've got proof they don't. The only thing they have is what NASA's told them. But I seen it to where it was going to go. It could have went very bad. And if you notice, I don't know if you know that blonde-headed guy that was there. I mean, it's like he was under mind control and flying off the handle. It was like he was sat there, if that makes sense. And you seen him manifesting at the front door, or if you want to call it that, I don't know what it was, but it was to set the tone. All right. Our camera guys, the guys that came with Trey, the guys that are here from South Carolina, they was treated rudely, you know, to the point where they kept on calling me, man, we ain't got this. And Trey told me to bring my own Starlink in. I don't know which star it's linked to, but that's what they call it. Yeah. Anyway, I see where this could have went very badly. Think about that. If Dean would have lost his temper, it would have went very badly. Because, and another thing is too, as you pay attention to, is the women of the staff women that are in every event, and the kids from the other side was not under the tent. It looked like we was in a war zone with all these guys walking around with bulletproof vests on. So another thing
that was crazy
is Greg Locke talks about the Masons all the time, bashes the Masons, and bashes the police department. So how does he have them on speed dial? How does he? Did you see how quick they showed up? It was like they was there waiting on us. But what really put the icing on the cake? What really put the icing on the cake was the article that was put out the next day. Now, when the article was put out, that shows what their agenda was, because the agenda didn't happen the way they wanted it to. And I'm going to give you another example that you may or may not know about. Do you remember in Charleston when that guy drove 2.5 hours to shoot up that black church in Charleston? Do you remember that?
I remember the story.
Okay. Well, they wanted the black people to explode, and basically it backfired on, because the black people didn't. They forgave this guy that was mentally backwards. There's a lot more to that story, Dave. But anyway, and I'm from South Carolina, so therefore I know. But let me tell you something that you don't know. On the very day that took place, the funeral of the people at the church. You know what day that is? The day that gay marriage become legal in the world, in the United States. So all the cameras are on Obama in Charleston, and then that night the White House is lit up in a rainbow. Okay, so you got to understand that this kid drives 2.5 hours. Shoots. Why? How many churches did he pass on the way there? Is a question. He was not a racist. He worked or hung out with my stepson in Lexington, South Carolina. His friends was black. And then he goes to I know I'm going off on a story that don't, but I'm just giving you the scenarios that I paid attention to. Another thing is too, have you ever seen a crime scene that 3 days later they open church back up? A mass murder, and they open the churches back up 3 days later.
Well, we saw that in Hiroshima and Nagasaki after the nuclear bombs went off. Everything was open 3 days later.
Exactly. So this right here is the exact same thing. So who was pulling the strings? Who was pulling the strings on this deal?
There's a lot to it. You know, and the way Pastor Locke behaved gives me great comfort, not that I didn't before, that I am in the good graces of God. Because this man is not a pastor. He is an evil demon. And I want to go over a couple things, but I want to just show you, I'm going to share my screen for a second. And just watch this short video. It's like 35 seconds.
I gave you the Bible.
I gave you the Bible. I gave more Bible than you did, for a fact. Right there. All right.
Oh, really?
That's a fact.
I was at the event, and I wrote down every single scripture referenced by Pastor Dean Odell, and it came to 41. And then I referenced every scripture that Pastor Locke spoke about, and it was only 6.
This is called gravity.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I also made another video. I'm not going to play it now. You can find it on my channel, DITRH, where Pastor Locke went after Mark Sargent, right? Mark Sargent, a man who has one sister who's married and has a big corporate job, and his mother got cancer. So Mark bought a house with his mother near his sister's house, moved in with her, and that way when he was traveling, she could come over and take care of the mother, right? This is the Christian thing to do. This is the humanity thing to do, right? Mark's living with his mother, and Pastor Dean, and I hate using the word pastor because I'm defiling the word pastor when I put it, not Pastor Dean, Greg. That is the most evil, mean thing anybody could say, right? That guy's doing what most Christians in his church and many churches wouldn't do themselves. They'll just put their parents in a nursing home, right?
That's right.
So that pissed me off more than anything else at that entire debate. It you know, besides him strawmanning the heck out of us and everything else, and not listening to anything Pastor Dean said, that one got me. And then he said, because his son, I believe, is a flat earther. He said, my son, I wouldn't trust him preaching to an outhouse. Okay, if I was his son, I would leave the compound and never speak with my father again. After that, if he said that to me personally in private, I'd have a problem. But he said it in front of thousands, if not millions of people.
That wasn't the first time.
Yeah.
That wasn't the first time.
That is a horrible, evil thing to do, right? Right there, every single person in that church should have walked out and never come back, in my opinion.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you wouldn't believe how true that statement is, because I can't tell you how many people have walked away from there. And when this takes place and people stop supporting these places, they go away. Period.
Like the government.
All right. So, what was the guy's name that Greg bashed on stage?
Mark Sargent.
All right, Mark Sargent. Let's take that, him bashing Mark Sargent. What's the chances on Greg being able to witness to Mark Sargent now?
0. And here's the thing. Let me just say something about Mark Sargent. A lot of people do hate on Mark Sargent. Mark has been out in the front lines of Flat Earth for a long time, and he does some things that other people wouldn't do. He does some things that I was like, I kind of wish he didn't say that. And that's fine. And I say things that other people wish I didn't say, and I wish I didn't say. But the thing is, Mark always says all publicity is good publicity. That's a fact. But guess what? Good publicity is better than bad publicity. But bad publicity is publicity. So give me 10 more Mark Sargents, bring them on, because the Flat Earth movement will just get bigger and bigger. Mark's videos were the ones that woke me up. So if it wasn't for him, maybe I wouldn't be here right now. So
that's right.
Just, and here's the thing with Mark. He gets more hate than anyone I've ever seen, from flat earthers, from anti-flat earthers, and from pastors. And Mark immediately makes excuses for them and forgives them. He literally is Flat Earth Jesus. Okay. He is. He's never mad at anybody. He already forgives Pastor Locke. He does. I'm dyslexic with my names. So
that is incredible, man.
And I don't know what his religious faith is or anything, and nor do I even want to ask. I go by his example, right? The guy can get crapped on horribly, and he'll support that person. He'll say, I'm staying up here, and if you want to join me, you're welcome to. But if you want to hate on me, you can hate on me by yourself, because I don't want any part of it. So that guy,
trust me, I know exactly. Yeah, I know exactly how he feels.
Yeah. So,
but persecution is told you're going to go through persecution. And the way I look at it is, if I'm not persecuted, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, really.
He sets a bet. Mark, Christian or not, don't know, don't care. Sets a better example on how to become a God believing. I hate the word God fearing, because I'm not in fear of God. I'm in awe of God. I'm not afraid of God at all. I'm not afraid of anything. right? So God fearing, I think that's a little twisted, right? I think that's, for people that are afraid of themselves and they're like, you better fear God or you're going to, succumb to your, desires or whatever that aren't correct. No, God, in all of God. Last thing on Mark, he literally never says anything negative about anybody, unlike Pastor Locke, who literally bashes people worse than, total scum. So I'm not happy with the guy. and after this is
there's a lot of pastors out there that do that. They don't understand that they basically null and void their message or their church or their ability to help that person. As soon as you call that person an idiot or live in his mama's basement, and I can't make them understand that. It's like they've got to do that to get a following, but in all reality, the following is for them to bash other people. So they're not doing any good with their congregation because their following is a drama following, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I hate to see it. That's the way Greg Locke got his following, is bashing people and saying stuff. He's a marketing guy. If you want to look up something pretty funny, go back and look up Greg Locke rap video from 20 years ago. It's pretty funny. But anyway, I sure do appreciate you coming on here or me coming on there. I don't know which one we're doing yet, but I just wanted to see what you thought about it. I want people to start looking at these setups, how the three-letter agencies work. And I will tell you one thing that I do know for a fact that I have seen when I was in Chicago. So this is just a little prophecy or hypothesis or whatever you want to call it. If the Lord has called you to move out of these big cities, I suggest you do so. Because I'm telling you right now, what they're doing is they're filling these cities with immigrants. I went to the border and I went to the big cities, both sides. I've seen it. I've talked to the sheriff at the borders. They put ankle bracelets on these people to make sure they get where they're going. I've got video of all the immigrants staying in the parking lots of the police departments. Now it's getting down to 20 degrees now up there. But what happens is they send the immigrants in, and these immigrants get in front of the other people getting government funding. So what it's doing is it's making these people that's been waiting for their housing, it makes them mad. So what they're doing is they're fighting these against each other. You understand? They're building tension just like they did on December the 2nd. They want to build tension against these people and let them explode and destroy themselves. But this is going to take place. Now, let me explain something to you. All these people are on government funding. So let's just say something happens and they don't qualify, or they decide that they're going to not have the government funding for them. What is that going to cause in the city?
Little chaos, if you will.
All right. Well, that right there. Now, if we could get these people to get along and say, this is what's going to take place, y'all should work together, just like December 2nd, their plan would fall apart. If they would look and see who the enemy really is.
They need us to hate each other. They need to cause a systemic racism, which doesn't exist. Yeah, there are some people that don't like other people for probably some good reasons. Systemic racism, I've never experienced it in my life. Okay.
Yep.
And it's just, but they're training people to make it. And then if you believe it, if they do things enough times, if there's enough fake shootings, maybe real shootings will start happening. And not
exactly. You dead on the money there.
Yeah. So they're constantly just there's nothing new under the sun, and they're trying to create new stuff.
And you can watch that pattern.
Yeah.
You can watch that pattern over and over and over again. What they do is they get these two people that are maybe enemies, may not be, but I want to tell you one thing. I've talked to these immigrants that are coming in, most of them Venezuelan. They've been lied to.
Yep.
They've been lied to come over here, and then we all hate them because they're coming here, but they was told in their country to come here and get over into this country that they can live the American dream.
You have to be
sleeping. They've been lied to. So when you've been lied to and they've been lied to,
Yep.
and the government let's just call it the white man. The white man is just sitting back watching the man of color destroy each other.
All the division
understand?
it's all made up. My favorite part
Yep.
of Greg Locke's reply was, Dean pointed out the verse when Jesus returns, all people on earth will see him at the same time. And Greg's like, that's because they have smartphones. It's because they have smartphones.
That's right.
Oh my God.
That's pretty crazy.
I literally burst out laughing. I was
technology.
I was taking a sip of my tea.
So they knew about this technology.
Yeah.
They knew about this technology.
Of course, God knew. God knew. Of course, God. That.
Yeah.
But that's
right.
So stupid. So
here's the thing about it is, God's plan was for the world to see on Greg Locke's platform flat Earth, which he said hell will freeze over before that takes place. When I told him, he said hell will freeze over. So I guess y'all need to put some boots on because your feet's cold. But anyway, it happened. And here's what I wish somebody would do. I wish they would take Dean's research and cut it from the debate.
I did.
Take out all the drama.
It's actually that's going to be featured on the app right here in I think 2 days from now. It's already out if you want to find it, but it'll just get to more people. Actually, on Saturday the 16th is just Dean's section.
That's good.
I figured that by
then people can research
yeah.
without the drama.
Yeah, without the 4.5 hours. They're like, you see a 4.5 hour video, like, I'm not watching that. But they just took Dean's presentation and it's really good. It's really good. And I learned some new things from it also. So yeah, that's exciting.
We're all still learning.
Yeah.
We're all still learning, but I appreciate you having me on here. And
awesome.
Close us out, or how do you do it on your show?
I don't have a show. I'm on other people's shows, so it's your show, so you can close it out. But I want to close this out by saying, when you see this, even if you're late, you can join. Even if you see this on Saturday, you can check out the Mount Meru 2-day summit, December 8th and 9th. Just go to flatearthdave.com, click the banner right near the top, and come join it and just expand your mind. Here's the thing about these summits. You learn so much information, then you start going on a path. Like for the next couple months, you're like, you know what Amanda said is amazing. Then you go down that rabbit hole and it opens up more rabbit holes. And again, what you're doing when you expand your mind into new, real things of freedom and health is you're expanding the mind of God. You're expanding the mind of the Creator. You're seeking ultimate knowledge, and that is the highest purpose of life. So that's right. There's great speakers here. Each speaker is worth the price of admission. And check it out. And also, you can join the chat, especially if you have a VIP ticket. You can be in the Zoom and ask questions. And we have a little after party on Saturday night. And it ends with comedy. We have a flat earther that is got some funny stuff planned. And the comedy, it's just a little comedy. So we can all, after absorbing amazing information for, a day and a half, get a little comedy, get to laugh. Because if you don't laugh, you're going to die.
That's right. That's right. All right, folks, we're going to end this up. Don't forget, check it out as it starts this evening.
Yep.
On the
on Flat Earth,
Dave.
FlatEarthDave.com. Scroll down a little bit. You can't miss it. Big banner there. Click it. Select the person that you want to support. You can support me. You can support somebody else. Doesn't matter. Or you can even say share it between all the presenters, and it divides up. It divides it up, and it's just a way to support. Even if you don't go, there's people that went last time that signed up, said share with everybody, and then didn't go and didn't watch it for like a month because they just wanted.
Well, that's where I'm at. I mean, I still like to learn, but I feel like they kind of preach it to the choir. But you need to open it up to people, to people that don't know. And
here's the thing:
do it that way, but.
Tim, I feel I know, and I've seen almost all of these presenters, but every time they present, I'm like, oh, now I get it. There's like more and more stuff you learn. And some people will do it, and then they'll watch it over the next month when they have time, when they're commuting. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to watch this presentation on my trip to New York City, whatever.
That's right.
You can watch it. He's got a cool app too, a free app. You download it, and the whole thing plays inside the app, and you can store all the videos there. It's super amazing. check it out because they do it 3 times a year. I think 3. Yeah, 3 times a year. I think 3. And it's worth it. And once you go to one, you're going to want to go to all of them. So there you go.
That's right. All right, folks. We will see you next time.
See ya.